guys, price floor. You know how floor lets you stay above the ground and lets you stay on the second floor? For me, I'm on the 13th floor of my flat. Just like that, price floors lets the prices stay above the equilibrium price. So, like the price ceiling goes below the equilibrium price floor goes above the equilibrium price. So good example of a price floor would be minimum wages, because there are many unskilled laborers. Many times in the market they'll be taken advantage of and receive very small amount of money, so they might have to work for like $5 per hour. To help those people, government sets a minimum wage so that they can at least receive $8. For here in Korea, like $8. For US, minimum wage is $12. So let's say that without minimum wage, equilibrium wage price for unskilled labor would be $5. Let's say this is around here, $8. So this is what? Price floor. Price floor, they set it on $8 for a minimum wage. When the wage was in equilibrium, I think 100 people would have worked, let's say. But with $8, more unskilled labor choose to work. So I think it would be like 120 people. But how about labor demand? We supply labor, like we're the laborers. We work for people, so we supply our labor. And labor demand is when the firms are actually demanding people to work for them. So labor demand, how many workers are they demanding? 80 people. So what's this called? There is a shortage of jobs. This is a shortage. Here we have a surplus of labor. So how many surplus of labor do we have? We have 120 people who are willing to work at this minimum wage, $8, but then only 80 jobs are opened. Only 80 people get hired. 40 people are willing to work, but they are unemployed. In FRQ, they will give you a price floor. They would ask you to calculate the social surplus and the deadweight loss. Let's see where the consumer surplus is. Consumer surplus is adjacent to the demand curve, remember? Consumers will be the firms because they demand labor. So this much would be the consumer surplus. Consumer surplus, let's just write it down. And what about producer surplus? We provide labor, so the workers will be producers. So people who were willing to work at really low wages have this much of happiness. It goes on until, and it ends here. Remember that it ends here because only 80 people get hired, and these people, 40 people, they don't get hired. So what you guys confuse is that, because of price floor, now producer surplus would be up to here. No, it ends here because only 80 people get hired. So that's what many students get confused on this. So remember that it ends here when there's a price floor, and also on the price ceiling, it actually ends here because only 10,000 seats are supplied. There would be no more consumer surplus. Here, there will be no more producer surplus after this point because there is no more firms hiring than 80 people. So where is the deadweight loss? For you to get a deadweight loss, you have to compare the social surplus that you had before with an equilibrium, which was consumer surplus here and producer surplus here. However, now that we have only this much of social surplus, we have lost this part as a deadweight loss. Just remember, this will be on the multiple a lot of times. The market is the most efficient when there is no intervention by the government. Price floor and price ceilings are interventions by the government. With the government intervention, there would always be deadweight loss. Deadweight loss are not good because there used to be surplus in the society. However, it's gone now with the intervention of the government. So an equilibrium price will give you the maximum social surplus. Without government intervention, the society is the most efficient. A recap on what we learned. Remember, the price ceiling is always below the equilibrium price to be binding, to be effective. Price can only go up to here. The price can be like $1 and like 50 cents, but they cannot go over $1.2. and there will always be deadweight loss. The example of this was like the subway in Korea. Another example could be like rent price control by the government, because if the rent price have increased too much, the government intervenes and then they put the rent prices really low with the price ceiling. Price floor is it's above the equilibrium to be binding. If the question says like price floor is here, what would be the price? So if the question asks you, government put a $2 price floor on this graph, what would be the equilibrium price? It would still be 5, because price floor below the equilibrium is inefficient, is not binding, so it would just follow the market. Price floor means that the price can only go down up to here. The price can actually go upwards like that, So in order for it to be binding, the price floor must be above the equilibrium. And if the question asked you, government set a price ceiling of $5 here, what would be the equilibrium price? It would be $3, because price ceiling above the equilibrium price is not going to be binding. It's not effective. There could be the prices can be charged anywhere below the price ceiling, so it would just converge onto the equilibrium price. Hope you guys understand. So leave a comment below if you have any questions. Have a good day.